Good evening. We are starting our live streams and glad to see everyone here this evening. Going to jump right in. It's been a while, but a lot of eventful developments in our program and lots of good systems being built. We should have a few new videos coming out soon with some information about the things that students built this last year. And I thought it would be a good time to start chatting with everyone and see if folks had questions as we start opening signups for the 2024-2025 Systems Academy year. So before I share a chart and talk about some of the things that we have going on, any pressing questions from the small group we have this evening? All right. And let me jump right in. So one of the developments we have, I'll share a couple of things. So as we saw last year in Systems Academy, actually before I share my screen, the one of the major factors in the success of students was their preparedness for engaging quickly with the principles of price action to build their systems. So the students who had either been in or bought videos of PTM benefited disproportionately in the speed that they were able to build their systems, or the time that they were able to build their systems in, and the research that they were able to do. And so this time around, we've decided to include recordings of PTM in the SA2 program. So when you sign up, you'll get 6 months of recordings, and the intention is so that as you go through the initial phase of onboarding and getting familiar with the program and going through the course material, you can simultaneously be studying PTM material. And in addition, this year, we're also giving students access to the context analysis dashboard, which I built and just deployed for the first time. So this is a sneak peek to the world. Here we go. Let me just show this here. So this is the context dashboard. Let me make myself small. All right. So this is a new research tool that we're going to be giving all students access to as well. There may be a standalone product in the future, but for now, it's something that we're simply uh, providing as part of the SA2 program, and it's going to give students who are going through all the PTM material, who are studying and preparing for their system design process, to also really internalize probabilities. One of the things that determines success most dramatically in both development and deploying systems is being able to think probabilistically. The research that students do helps to internalize this. That's one of the reasons for the rigorous research component in the program. But we've also developed this dashboard. I built it from the code that I use to run some other models. So basically, extracted some of the features from that are more able to be used by humans. Most of the code that I've written is used by strictly modeling algorithms, whereas this is something that you can interact with. Doing research. So the idea here is that students who are going through the program and doing their systems research, reviewing all their PTM material, taking notes, and putting together their system design ideas can also study market behavior. And so here you can see the this has 5 years of data that it's referencing. So you can say, for example, filter by Mondays. You apply your filters, then obviously you get a subset of your data set. And then say you have a opening gap of a range, say between, if it's less than 20%, you could say, 0 to 20%. So a bull gap. This takes negative values as well. And then you would further reduce your data set. So probably not terribly useful to only consider Mondays because you filter it down below 100 data points. Go back and filter it to uh, all gaps of less than all bull gaps of less than 20% of the average daily range. And then you can go in and just study probabilities and say, what are the probabilities that the opening gap will close? Well, it's 83%. And you can go through and study all of these probabilities. It most often closes on bar one. Highest probability is bars 1 to 6 within this high probability range. But then if you wanted to go and study this, you can print charts and walk away and just sit down with a PDF and study your printed charts. So you get all of these with your marked levels. And here, this closed on bar 8. This one closed on bar 1. Closed on bar 1. So basically, you can then go through and study your context. So, got a question. Let's bring it up here. What would be the best use of this for a breakout and follow through system? Um, this is not systems research. This is context research, and so this is helping to inform the way that you do your system design. So you would say, if you go in and so this can be used both for real time trading and for system study or any kind of market research. Um, so let's say you've collected all of your data for your breakout and follow through system, which you've designed, and you find that it often the signals often fail within the first 6 bars of the day. Well, you could go and print and like let's say you see that it's break-in and follow throughs that fail because you get opening reversals. So there's a few ways that students deal with that. They simply don't trade the first 6 bars, or you can go and study and get a better sense of when those opening reversals are likely to occur and when they're likely to fail. And here is where you could research that. So you could say, only consider days where the daily close where you've had more than one daily close above the EMA. So now you're looking at uh, bull regime context and bull opening gaps. How does this change your opening gap behavior? First, you could see sorry, it's generating some charts. So we went from 84% probability that it closes to 78% probability. The median bar is still the same range. Bar number changes. But then we end up with, sorry, here. Oh, I closed the wrong one. Sorry. But the idea then would be to study the context surrounding your system. Um, if you have 3 or 5 signals a day, are they in? What is the regime that the market is in on the daily time frame? Is it? Was the did you get breakouts from Globex highs and lows? If so, then you can test that system there. So how does the market or how does your system perform if the market has done certain things during the trading day? So you can use the whole session context to calibrate your system. So it's not this is basically accounting for day context rather than just say regime, which can include some of these items but not all of them. It should and often does include the opening gap. but probabilities for reaching measured move targets, right? These are significant. If they're reached, there are other expectations that you can calibrate as well. So, like, let's say you do reach a bull measured move target. So we'll just turn that off because it'll change to 100%. Your sample set gets down to 73%. But if you reach the bull measured move target, the probability of breaking out from the low and getting the bear measured move target of the opening range is 5%, right? So it's incredibly low probability. The probability of breaking out from the Globex high is 100%, right? So if that hasn't happened by the time you get the opening move or the measured move of the opening range, this is incredibly probable. Basically, what you would do with a breakout and follow through system is use this to understand the probabilities of the day and then filter the signals that your system generates through these daily context probabilities. And so if you know that it's very unlikely to reach a bull measured move target and you have a breakout and follow through on a trending trading range day, and let's say, well, we already have that there. So let me just remove this and refilter. So if you have a bull measured, or if you have a breakout of the opening range on bar 12 and you intend to hold it, or you're trying to hold the trade for a measured move, and you think that it's going to happen in X number of bars, you know, and you're still within this bar range of 19 to 27, yeah, you're working with a 2% probability that it's going to happen within any short period of time. So unless you have a swing system, it's an unreasonable trade to take, right? So it's a scalp trade, and so you can use this to calibrate the expectations for some of those daily context targets and the levels that are often going to be tested if the market has a tendency to be either more bullish, express more trading range properties. Like if we remove some of these filters, so if this is 10 to 30%, you're going to see that this changes. That actually drops. This goes up slightly, but the interesting thing is that if you are in a bear regime, sorry, and bear regime with a bull opening gap, that probability drops by 12%, and that goes up by 30%. And so being able to internalize these and then go up, and this is the really really beneficial thing that this offers. Um, the print charts function then allows you to not just deal with these probabilities abstractly, but go in and actually study charts. And you get your probability all of the different filters that you've applied here, and you can go and just study. Right? So the opening gap percent between 10 and 30, daily closes below the EMA or greater than 1, and then this is what you get. So the idea is that it's a study tool, research tool, and it can also be used for live trading to help calibrate expectations throughout the day. So are you using the let me pull this system or this one off. Are you using the daily chart 20 EMA to determine market regime context? No. So intraday. So if you're developing a system that you trade on your whatever trading time frame you have, you're typically the 20 EMA is the regime filter, a really simple heuristic for a regime filter. So it would be the 20 EMA on a 5-minute chart if you're trading a 5-minute chart. But the daily regime has a significant impact on the 5-minute trades. So on the 5-minute chart. So understanding the impact of the daily regime, right? If you have daily closes below the EMA on the 5-minute chart, you're going to have 5-minute bull setups failing at a higher rate than bear setups, right? And so, the signals that generate from your setups should be calibrated according to both your trading timeframes regime and the understanding that you're going to have different distributions of win rates depending on what your daily regime is as well. So here, how do you get these probability estimates? So these are not estimates. These are frequentist statistics that are generated just using standard statistics. Coded all of this, and it just runs on the. So I have a feature extractor that I use to build models with, and those, I mean, that generates 400 different features. But those features are largely not usable by humans when they're trading. Like they're, things like the percent close of the distance between the high of day and the previous high of day. So what's the remaining percentage of that distance expressed as a fraction of the current trading session's range? Things like there's no way that a human would be able to use that as they trade intraday. So what I did is I extracted those features, which are more categorical and based on bar counts, and these are also all single event features. So it doesn't take a lot to really use this, um, really to get a lot of benefit out of using it. So the idea is that as students go through SA2 and they're doing their systems research, they can use this as a parallel process to better integrate the probability distributions for different events based on the way that the sessions develop, right? So you can, and I have, this is a early release, so in the coming weeks, I'll be adding about 12 more features to it. But so for now, things like you could say, we could look here, what are the end of day probabilities, right? If you have an opening gap of 10 to 30%, that's the only input right now, and a daily closes below the EMA, then 54% probability that, or 54% of those days, so of the 92 days, uh, closed below the opening range, the opening 12 bar range. 50% closed below the previous day's range, and 50% closed below the Globex range. Change this to bull, and you see those shift. So now you have 53% above. I mean, so these are the kinds of probabilities that it's really helpful to internalize, because it helps traders avoid getting stuck in bad trades, or helps them filter some of the signals that their system might end up generating, especially as you move into the last third to a quarter of the day. um, Knowing that there's only a 7% chance that you're going to close the day below the previous day's range, if you have a bull gap of 10 to 30% and daily closes above the EMA. But you're probably not going to take bear signals late in the session. So that's how I would use it, and the statistics are just based on basically the categorical distributions of these feature sets. Did that answer your question? Do you have any follow up about the way it operates? Uh, I mean, I'm not sure how you would compare it with a live chart. So this is um, I mean, you could compare it with your platform chart. I mean, so the way that this, because there's obviously, um, almost 2,000 days here. I'm not going to overload these servers and allow downloading of thousands of charts. So the way that this is currently set up is that it allows users to download Each download generates 30 charts, and it builds them, on the fly. So when you click the print charts button, it prints them according to your filter conditions. And so it will print 30 charts for every request. And what it does is it actually it creates a distribution from the beginning of the data set, which is 2017, all the way to the end of the data set, which is 2000, July of 2024. But it does it by more heavily weighting the days closer to the last day in the filtered data set. So um, and actually this is going to be the last day in the filtered data set. So once you've gone from 1968 days down to 283, this is your 283rd day in that data set. And so you can compare um, these charts that it builds with the charts on your platform, and I guess you could do like pattern matching. I mean, I've never done it, but where you try to print charts in real time and then anticipate whether the current day will look somewhat like, some of these charts. I think that's less meaningful, because I think that the better use of time is to really sit down with the charts and study them according to, right, these conditions. So whatever you use as your input conditions, use this to study that so that you really understand. Say if you find that your system isn't operating, or you're not trading your system well, under whatever the conditions are, dial those conditions in as your filter criteria, and then just go study a ton of charts and try to internalize what the effect of context is on the performance of your system. Does that make sense, Hakeem? Yeah, I mean, the comparison is really. Let me see here. The comparison is for the offline study of something that you want to investigate. It's not going to be as useful, or maybe not useful at all, for real time, kind of predictive analysis. Trying to do pattern matching. I think that that's probably a less useful way of using the tool. Jason asked, in your own trading, are you currently fully systematic? Um, so I trade systematic discretionary. I have a number of different systems which I can trade, and depending on the day, um, I may or may not trade. Just leave only one. Uh, Set alerts, and if I'm really busy. One thing that I've actually liked doing as I was spending more time building out some tools for SA2 students, I was actually trading 15-minute charts. And so what I would do is just leave the an alert set on my signals. And so when the signal triggers, just take a look at the chart. Um, I know the calibrated expectations for the signal, take the trade, and with 15-minute charts, there's just a lot more time to manage the position, and I do manage it discretionarily. So I will. There are certain you know reasons why I will get out quickly, why I'll hold slightly longer, while I'll tolerate more dithering sideways, or less. So there's a lot of different things that I can do. But typically, I'll trade one system which accounts for both trend resumption and mean reversion, and usually not mix multiple systems on a single day. Does that answer your question? So the one system will have multiple signals and different signals that I will have studied and understand the nuances of each and how to change the way that I trade for each of them. But they are all derivatives of the base system, which is generating signals according to certain first principles. So the idea here tonight was really to share some updates on the SA2 program. You know, the way that we're approaching it this year. And really, the only significant changes are the incorporation of more PTM as part of the product, part of the onboarding process, and really encouraging students to spend time with that as part of their study. But then also the context analysis and giving a lot of time to that as well, because the more deeply you can integrate that, the the f- the easier time you will have trading your signals and really responding to the context without just you know grabbing the signal and perhaps trading it in a low probability scenario. So better understanding how your signals fail, the effect of context on them, and uh, hopefully between the two of these and the forthcoming updates to the context dashboard, there should be a pretty robust catalog of material for students to get off to an even faster start. I mean, we had students last year who built systems, preliminary systems, and had pretty robust documentation within 5 to 6 months. But we're hoping that this can expedite that even more. Um, I Well, I'm not sure how much we can talk about it, except for the fact that it will be coming in 2025. We are preparing it now. Um, yeah, we'll be saving that for the coming months. There will definitely be some uh, probably seeing some of the context analysis dashboard in that product as well. Just trying to use it as much as possible to help students get a better understanding of the role that that plays in their all of their trading, whether they're doing it systematically or if they're doing entirely discretionary trading. Um, so the here, let me pull this one up. No, so you don't need to subscribe to PTM because part of the SA2 program will include 6 months of PTM. So, as you may or may not know, that you have the option of both participating live in PTM, which so you have the significant benefit of being able to interact one on one with Ali and ask questions and be in the Telegram channel and working with other students. But you can also just get recordings, and we have a lot of students in SA2 who did that and went through hundreds of hours of study of PTM. And so what we found is that the students who did that were very, very successful in their system design and implementation. So what we are doing is we're including that PTM now, basically a full cycle, what Ali considers a cycle of the instruction as part of the subscription to or the SA2 program. Ali has not said anything about that, but we can certainly find out. I'm sorry, I'm the only one who sees this question. Uh, yeah, I'll find out from Ali and let you know. Are you in uh, any of the existing programs? whether you are or not, I can find out, and we'll be doing more of these streams going forward just to answer any questions and let people know how we are going with the onboarding process and um, just to help folks understand what the opportunity is and if it's something that would be right for them. Yeah, so if you're currently part of SA2, I'll find out and let you know. I'll actually leave a note on the bottom of this stream. Um, it depends on the previous experience. So, how much time you've spent studying price action and, what your experience is with kind of large research and design projects. So, someone who has experience in both of those could probably get away with fewer hours a week. Um, Obviously, the more time you have, the better. The students who do really well have at least 2 to 3 hours a day that they can put into it. Again, sorry, this is like answering these questions via telepathy. No, here we are. So this was the question. How many hours a week do you expect a student to spend on SA2? So total, it's anywhere between 10 and 20 hours a week. The focus is not entirely on ES because the way that we design systems is through price action, and so these are price action. There have been a handful of students who've designed systems around other methods, but the overwhelming majority base their systems on price action. So they are entirely transferable between markets. The first systems that I built were deployed on Bitcoin, and they trade the same way on Bitcoin as they do on e-mini. There's literally no difference. All right. Well, if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to schedule another session for in the next couple of days, and Brad and I will both be on, and we'll get into some charts. We'll probably share some of the stories from the students this semester who or this year who have been successful, but coming from different backgrounds and the way that they've approached the process and how they have both worked through their material and the kinds of things that they've ended up producing. Um, there's just a lot of variation in the program, and it's really cool to see having gone through it now, through a full cycle. Uh, how many students have really changed the way that they are uh, not just thinking about their systems, but the speed with which they can iterate on them and develop new ideas. It's very cool. So it's been a lot of fun this year. We're looking forward to another fantastic year with a new cohort. We hope that some of the students from this year, like last year, will stay in the coaching sessions and stick around and continue to contribute and learn. That's always nice to have some of the previous year with us again. But in the meantime, certainly leave questions on the video. I'll respond there with a note on the PTM for previous students, and we can catch you on the next stream. Probably be in the next day or two. Any final questions? All right. Well, then, everyone, have a great evening. Look forward to talking to you all soon. Good night.